Welcome to the latest segment of AutoCrit's Coffee Break. My name is Bekah Brinkmeier, your host and author coach here at AutoCrit. It is so wonderful to be back again, and today we are here with Craig Cillessen. And Craig, you are going to tell us a little bit about what you're working on, and I am so excited to hear. So the floor is yours. Introduce yourself and let us know what you've been writing.
All right. Hi, thanks for having me. Craig Cillessen, newly retired and fully dedicated to writing now, which is really exciting. The thing I've been wanting to do since I was like 6 years old. I'm finally gonna
Ah,
do it. Can't wait.
amazing.
And I've jumped into the both the novel 90s summer and fall, and just kind of last week decided on what I was going to do. So I'm fully into the answer mode, I think, after and I talked with Catherine about it, how I have to be a pantser because I
Mhm.
think I was an Uber planner and I planned to the point of not wanting to write it anymore, and so I'm taking the opposite path now. So I was going to do my because I was fortunate enough to win the Destination Unknown short story challenge here a couple months ago, which was a total shock to me. And I thought about expanding that, but then I decided I have a novel, one of those things that I've been working on since, like college kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's done, but not submitted anywhere. And I've decided I'm going to write the sequel to it for the fall challenge and as sort of an interim novella on the summer. And so my goal is by the end of the year to have three or two and a half, however you want to look at it, novels manuscripted and ready to polish up and publish.
I love this plan for you. This sounds fantastic. Now, what genre do you write in?
This is, I think it's called urban fantasy. I'm a little fuzzy on it. I think of it as like a supernatural adventure. It's almost like a modern day sort of Raiders of the Lost Ark, except if
Ooh,
the gods the people were believing in were way more active in the world, than what Indy ran into. So I have the first one. It's done. It's way too large. So the month of September is going to be the editing of that using all of AutoCrit's handy features. And then I had an idea for a second one when I finished this one about a decade ago. And so I'm going to pursue the second one and then make a little interim novella this summer.
it sounds like you've got it all planned out. I love
Maybe.
this, and I love urban fantasy. I love adventure stories. Definitely a big Indiana Jones fan. I grew up with those, and so it's just one thing that gets me excited when I'm thinking about all of these different ideas that everyone has is the unique spin on familiar things. Right? You have familiar adventure stories, you have familiar elements that are out there, but the way you spin them together, that becomes your unique voice and the way
Mhm.
you tell these stories. So I guess I would love to know a little bit about your world building process and your character building process. Just how
Okay.
do you come up with this structure inside of this world that you're creating?
Well, I came up with sort of an overall plot, and then I started to go with I wanted sort of everyman type people, not necessarily the chosen ones and the stuff. I
Hmm.
tend to lean more toward, the ensemble cast rather than the one super powered character. And so I started thinking about like every men and women who get pulled into this kind of thing and how would they react to it and how would they handle it, and then who else would come in. It's the sort of the fun of doing it like a character from a character's perspective. You see how would someone react, and then that's kind of where your plot
Hmm.
goes. And who do they run into, and how do they react, and then it kind of goes from there. And for the supernatural elements, I've tried to take. I don't want to do sort of like true historical or true to mythology gods and goddesses, if that makes sense. Things like
Yeah.
I'm reading the Paternus series right now, which seems like way in depth as to the actual mythological features. And I don't want to do that because number one, others are doing it and probably doing it better. And I want to take a unique spin on them. So I've picked out the gods that I'm dealing with and sort of cranked the volume to 11 in terms of what they like, almost like the most extreme version of what they are. Like one of them is like earth or nature goddess, and
Hmm.
her followers are almost like sentient piles of rock and soil and twigs.
Oh, wow.
Instead of just taking it to to the extreme, so
Hmm.
and trying to combine. I was also a big fan of like Tom Clancy books and things like that, so I'm trying
Sure.
to figure out where can you combine technology in that, and because they're modern day, how do both the good guys and the bad guys use that to their benefit? And then I'm taking a lot of authors do it, but I think Stephen King is almost the best at incorporating in his books, like however bad this supernatural or whatever horror is, there's always a group of people around who can make it 10 times worse if they try. So I've picked out one of them and I've incorporated a group of people in here that are almost, in a way, almost more of a problem than the gods the characters are opposing. So,
Okay. But I love that because I like to be messy in my in my stories sometimes. And I like the idea of like it could be worse and it's about to get worse. Kind of vibe to that and
yeah,
be like, "Oh, did you think this was as bad as it's gonna get?" Plot twist. It's
right, right,
not.
right.
Keeps you interested as a reader and as a
Yeah.
writer. It's frankly fun to put your characters through the ringer every now and
Oh, yeah, it's a blast. And in fact, that secondary group led to an entire sort of fairly main character that wasn't even in the book the first time around. And then I'm like, well, I've got to add this person as sort of to help them deal with this group. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, Craig, your characters are demanding already. That means you're not just writing like a trilogy, you're writing a whole interconnected world.
It could
I
be. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm hoping to have it be semi-episodic, but with some in the same sort of vibe. There's sort of one character, the background, kind of almost a Gandalfy type character that'll be through all of this, and that character has to recruit different people to help him with the different explosions that happen around the world.
I love where you're going with this, and I'm so excited for A, when this gets published so I can read it, and B, just like this is just such a fun thing. I
Hmm.
love it. Now you're in the drafting stage and
Hmm.
you're in the planning stage.
Yep.
So where does AutoCrit fit into kind of your writing process right now?
The story analyzer thing is
Hmm.
spectacular, and I've done for the I've almost veered a tiny bit into, don't tell Catherine, I've veered a tiny bit into planning mode for since I'm officially on Team Cancer, um, and I've used the initial things, and then you analyze your
Hmm.
genre, analyze your characters, analyze your world building. It's great at quickly giving you feedback
Yes.
and quickly kind of identifying gaps, because my big fail is the details. I was in my career, I was a new product development guy for
Hmm.
aircraft interiors, and so my whole thing was the initial concept and the initial idea and the sort of the proof of concept and getting it to that stage, and then sending it on to someone else to complete, and then I'd go do the next one. And so I am out of practice at filling in the details. And so using AutoCrit to help with that is a godsend. It's super handy. I really like it. I almost have to I'm reminding myself to err on the side of not putting too much in there at the beginning, because then I run the risk of my brain thinking, well, that one's done, let's go do something else. And then I don't write. So it's almost, in a way, it's almost too helpful for me.
We can't have that. I love having that kind of feedback. I love feedback as
Hmm.
an author. I love having it at my fingertips and I love that it allows me to keep my own voice because my
Yeah,
voice is important and I don't want it to change my work. I just want it to tell me how to strengthen my work. And I
right.
think AutoCrit really we excel at that
Yeah.
particular angle.
It's borderline frightening how how specific and helpful that feedback is.
It is. And as someone who writes at all the weird hours of the day, it's nice that I can have that immediate validation because
Mhm.
I don't, let's face it, I don't want to wait. 3 to 5 days for someone to get back to me. I want it now. And being able to have that now is it's been great for my own writing process. So I'm always pleased when our members agree with me on that, that it is helpful to them and that it is something that you're using, because I find it to be wonderfully, I guess it's integral to my writing toolkit at this
Mhm.
point.
Oh yeah, I
So
agree.
now, one of the things, like you have big plans and you're obviously competing in the challenges, you are taking writing seriously. It's something you've wanted to do for a long time.
Mhm.
A lot of aspiring authors struggle with things like consistency and writing habits. What
Mhm.
is one thing that you've put into place to kind of help you stay on the track that you want?
Doing something every day, writing related. That's the goal I've set so far. I'll probably have to change it once we get into the meat of the challenges and get
Mm-hmm.
specific with word counts. But do something every day. And there's various forms of this, but the one that resonates with me was Bruce Lee's saying of just walk through the door. That's the hardest thing to do is, if you're studying a martial art, the hardest thing to do, it turns out, is go to class consistently. And uh, and once you get there, it just goes and you fly and you participate and you do everything. And I think it's the same with writing. Once you start, you will do probably a lot more than you even planned on doing that day. And
It's true.
it's a achievable goal, especially starting out. If you make the goal from day one of writing 2,000 words a day or something, you're likely going to burn out. You're going to be like those people who have a dusty gym membership that they never go to. But if you make the goal to just do something writing related, either every day or like Monday through Friday, give yourself the weekend
Mhm.
off. I think that's worked for me so far, and
Yeah,
it'll
that's
it'll expand, and it's gotten bigger than I thought. Like today I thought I'm going to fiddle with some of the story analyzer, the world building, the characters, the everything, and I ended up filling in every blank in there. I ended up doing all of it. And so if you just start, you will do more than you thought you would for that day.
I agree. I'm a big fan of I do write every day. I also have my micro rituals. You can read about them on the blog
Mhm.
we have for AutoCrit. It's something that's very important to me is that I do something. I have my 15 minutes. I guard it fiercely. If it's not Christmas or like my wedding anniversary, it's that 15 minutes in the mornings. That's the expectation for the day.
Mhm.
That is I reread my pages from the day before because I also write every single day. And
Mhm.
to me, that is 15 minutes feels very achievable. It doesn't matter if, even when I'm traveling or I'm doing things, I can make 15 minutes happen.
Oh,
And
sure.
I tell myself that that's my 15 minutes to invest in me and my art and set the standard for what it is. If I'm feeling ill and I'm not going to write that much today, that's okay. I can have permission to change it. It's,
Mhm.
it's mostly that I'm going to keep that habit because I am prioritizing this as this is my full-time thing. So this is what I want to do. So
Oh, yeah.
I love that you have that ritual as well. So, as this is a coffee break, we are going to wrap up with
Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Craig.
Oh,
I'm going to
gosh.
have you sell your story that you're working on. Hype us up, Craig. Tell us what we're going to be able to get from this story you're writing.
All right. The first manuscript out there is tentatively titled The Reaper. It's going to have to
Mhm.
change. It is about Vincent and Catherine, a happily married couple out to save the world from a dark god and trying to figure out how Vincent is around, given that he was murdered 6 months previously. So that's
Plot
that's
twist.
the that's the quick blurb for one. And it ends up being all over the world. I go to like 6 different countries, and it almost ends up in a pretty much worldwide apocalypse by the end of it. And
As one does.
as one does,
Yeah.
life gets out of hand sometimes. And that one, my goal is to have that one ready to query or self-publish by the end of the year. The
Mhm.
first draft, second, third, and fourth have been written, and I'm going to use our break month of September between the two contests to edit the heck out of that one. And then I'm going to do the sequel to that, or do next one in the series for the fall contest. And then in the interim, I'm going to write a little novella that kind of bridges the gap between the two of them. So my goal is
Oh,
for all three of them to be ready for the world by January of 2026.
oh my
We'll see.
gosh, I'm so excited. I want to read it. So I hope that if any agents are watching, you should be contacting Craig for this fantastic book. And thank you so much for being on our coffee break segment and for sharing
Oh,
your time, your insights, the teasers for your books. It has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today.
thank you so much, and for all of the help you've given me and everybody on AutoCrit. It's an amazing resource, and I'm so glad I found it.
Well, we are so happy to have you as a member of our AutoCrit Pro community and as one of our challengers for Novel 90, not just summer edition, but fall edition too.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I am coach of Team Pantser, I wish you all the best and you are part of Team Pantser. And with that, I am going to say thank you to our viewers for tuning in today. Keep writing and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.